Hello everyone, this is Lady G at Great Basin Alchemy. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to do a reading for the week of September 21st, 2020. This is also the week of the equinox, either going into the autumn in the northern hemisphere or going into spring in the southern hemisphere. So, the equinox is the day of the year when the amount of light and dark in the day is equal, 12 hours of each. And after that point, the days either get longer or shorter, as in terms of light time versus dark times, moving towards the solstices on either end, either summer solstice or winter solstice. And so the equinox is a time of transition. It is a time of change. It is a time of when the body detoxes. It's a great time to do traditional cleaning, deep cleaning of your house, either in preparation for spring and planting and growth, or doing the autumn harvest, cleaning and preparation for winter. It is also a time to notice balance or imbalance in your life, depending on what is going on. This year has been incredibly tumultuous in pretty much every aspect of the word. And so finding balance this year has been a challenge for everyone, I think. I don't think I've talked to anyone who has had an easy time when it comes to balance. Even the people I know, even my spiritual teachers, are digging deep to find stronger tools to assist them with balance and needing to go into quiet spaces more frequently for self-care. So I think it's fair to say that while the theme for this week might be finding balance because of the equinox, I think it's fair to say this whole year has been about change and finding a new balance, finding a new normal, finding a new perspective on how we go about living our daily lives. So let's see what the cards have for us this week. We'll start on this end. This is going to be the beginning of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Sunday. So here we go. The goddess Oya, which is an African goddess, and we're going to have a mantra. So this goddess is about change, which is rather fitting. The goddess Oya, notice these swirls, the whirlwinds. 9 is her number. The color wine is her color, and she rules over the natural elements of nature, similar to Pele of the Hawaiian Islands. She works with fire, with water, hurricanes, tornadoes, volcanoes, thunderstorms, any kind of element in that sense. She rules over those things. And so what this tells me is that there is change coming, and it is not change that we can avoid, because the planet is involved in this change. The planet, Mama Gaia, is asking us to wake up and to change. And the faster that we can do that, the faster these extreme forces of Mama Gaia's expressions can be tempered, because that's what they're for. This extreme change in our planet is to help us awaken. Earthquakes, fires, all of these strong hurricanes, flooding, all of this is to get us to wake up, look around us, get out of our little tiny worlds of me, 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 and start thinking about our place in the collective planet. How what we do and what we say and how we live our lives affects those around us, and what we need to do in order to bring balance into the way that we live so that other people can also be in balance. It's out of balance for one person to thrive and for another person to suffer. We must all be able to thrive. And the way that we do that is to make room for others to thrive by changing how we go about living so that others have access, others have the possibility to access the abundance that Mama Gaia has, and that we're not expressing our entitled attitude of selfishness by saying, I can do whatever I want and no one's going to stop me, and I don't feel like that doing something different because that's inconvenient for me. Well, the planet is no longer letting us get away with not wanting to be inconvenienced. It's time to make the change. Oya, the goddess Oya, is also the goddess for women. When women find themselves in difficult situations. And so she will come to help us if we ask her, and will help intervene and provide doorways and solutions for us. So if you are feeling stuck in a particular situation, or you just don't know how to handle a situation, try connecting with the goddess Oya. She has an amazing blend of power and force and honesty with compassion. She's not gonna take your crap, but neither is she going to be insensitive to your suffering. And so the mantra that she offers is, everything I touch is a success. I now establish a new awareness of success. So when we go through a change, that means we can never go back to the way things were before. Because now we know something different. Now we've experienced something different. So getting back to normal is not an option at this point. We are now moving into a new normal. So I establish a new awareness of success, or a new awareness of normal. I know I can be as successful as I make up my mind to be. I move into the winning circle. Golden opportunities are everywhere for me. Prosperity of every kind is drawn to me. Now, when we deal with change, this can be very overwhelming. Allowing change to equal prosperity and success can be a shift of a mindset, so that it's not just a devastating loss. It can also mean bringing new successes, new awareness, and new prosperity. The middle of the week, Sekhmet. This Sekhmet has been talking a lot with me recently about anger and rage. There's a lot of misplaced anger and rage, particularly in white culture. Particularly in white women, where we have been taught to put our anger and rage on those who are weaker, rather than confront the true source of our boundaries being violated, which is why we're experiencing the anger and the rage. And the true source of this anger and rage for white women in our culture is the patriarchy. However that shows up, it's the patriarchy oppressing us as women, which we then pass on to people of color. That's just the brutal, honest truth. And it's misplaced. We need to confront the patriarchy. We need to confront and listen to the anger and the rage that lives within us and not be afraid of it. We have been taught as white women that it is not nice to be angry. It is not nice to rage, that good girls don't experience these things. We're supposed to be pleasant. We're supposed to be comely. We are supposed to be pleasing in order to gain the favor of the men, so that we can gain status in society by being chosen to marry them. Now, there's a hell of a lot more that goes along with that, right? That good girls don't have sex before marriage, good girls never get abortions, otherwise they're damaged goods, and they'll be lucky if a man deems her worthy enough to marry after that. There's all kinds of bullshit, right? Like you don't wear bright colors, or you don't wear other colors on your nails or than red. And even then, only on your toes, not on your fingernails, because you don't want to be a slut, despite the fact that white culture teaches that women can only be a virgin or a slut. There is a lot about white culture that oppresses women to the point where we are so filled with anger and rage because we are not allowed to be who we are. We're not allowed to exist as women. We're constantly being pushed and pulled. We have to, our asses are either too big or too small or too saggy or too lumpy, or our breasts aren't big enough, or they're too big, or they're too set far apart. I mean, there's even a whole industry of plastic surgery for our labias. That is the biggest bunch of bullshit I have ever heard, that we are being twisted and cut and pulled into all these different ways in order to fit a very narrow definition of beauty. By whom and for whom? It certainly isn't from any divine source, otherwise we wouldn't look the way that we look. We look the way that we look because divinity has deemed it appropriate for that to exist. And so we're constantly fighting our natures, fighting ourselves, not loving who we are, because we're being told in every aspect of society and in our worlds that we are not enough as we are. And then rather than turn around and face the perpetrators of this and say, no, you must stop, we take it out on everyone else. And this has to stop. This has to stop. It's time for us to put our anger and rage where it belongs. And again, I am willing to change. Look at this butterfly. the process of metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly. We can do this. We can do that. We can use anger and rage as our catalyst to change. I am willing to release old negative beliefs, such as I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not curvy enough, I'm not pleasing enough. It's okay to not be pleasing enough. It's okay to be a nasty woman. It's okay, because they don't need to be the people who define us. We define ourselves. Each of us defines ourselves. They are only thoughts that stand in my way, and they may not even be your thoughts. So why are you letting someone else's thoughts, someone else's determination, someone else's interpretation of what a good wife should be, a good mother should be, what someone else's interpretation of a sacred book says we should be? No, you know who you are, and divinity created you that way. Don't let anybody else's thoughts impede your ability to be the rich, complicated, fascinating, interesting person that you are. My new thoughts are positive and fulfilling. This is powerful. This is powerful. Okay. And for the weekend, Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. Kuan Yin, after she transitioned from her life on this planet, decided that she would not leave this plane until we had ascended, until the planet had ascended. And so she is a mere thought away. And her energy is so filled with gentle compassion and understanding and support and love. Compassion is such a complicated experience. It doesn't let you off the hook of your responsibility, but it does hold a sacred space of understanding and awareness of whatever it is that you are experiencing. And usually people think of compassion in terms of suffering. When someone is feeling sad or is suffering in some way, they want a compassionate space. They want someone to create a compassionate space of non-judgment, no advice, just a compassionate space for them to process whatever it is that they are feeling or thinking or experiencing. And that's what she offers. And she also teaches that you cannot hold compassion for another until you have held it for yourself. And so part of all of this that's going on has to begin here within us. If you cannot be sensitive or compassionate or empathetic to another person's experience, why not? Why aren't you upset about how people of color are treated in this country? Why aren't you upset about how people at our southern border are being treated? Why aren't you upset at the number of women who have come forward saying how our president has treated them? Why aren't you upset at the corruption? Why aren't you upset at all of the misinformation that's going on? If you don't care enough to do something, why not? It starts here. Do you have so much unhealed trauma and upsetness in your own life, experiences in your own life, that you have no more room for anyone else's? If that is the case, this is where you need to start. By finding a way to have a compassionate space for yourself so that you can process all of that, So as you process and heal and let go of your own issues, your own traumas, so that you're no longer stuck in anger and rage about it, then you have room. Then there's space. There's space for others to exist. There's space for you to look around and say, oh, I know what it's like to be ignored at work, or I know what it's like for someone to mansplain what I just said. That sucks, and I'm going to speak up, because it's not okay for that person to be treated that way. That person needs support. That person needs a backup. That person needs compassionate action. Compassion is not like love. Compassion is not a noun, it's a verb. It's something that you are compelled to express in some way. But we cannot do this without working through all of these other things. And so we have to choose to experience change. We have to choose to experience the anger and the rage. And as we choose that, we are choosing to evolve. We are choosing to awaken. We are choosing to move forward. And when we can choose it, then we're no longer the victim. Then we're no longer harmed by what is happening around us that is out of our control. Now we can take control of the situation by saying, I am choosing this. I am strong enough and capable enough to handle this. And I can hold compassion for myself, and I can allow myself to experience whatever it is I need to experience without judging myself as not being enough. Because I can change my thoughts that stand in the way of that. I don't have to allow someone else to define how I am in these situations. I claim my own power, and I lovingly create my own reality. I hold compassion for myself to heal myself. And as I do, I create a new reality for myself. I ask for more understanding within myself, so that I may knowingly and lovingly shape my world and my experiences. It starts inside. Your internal world is reflected into your external reality. So if you're feeling anger and rage and throwing anger and rage out into the world, come back within. Go within. Where am I not listening to myself? Where am I violating my own boundaries? Where am I not allowing myself to be who I am? Hold a compassionate space for myself to explore those very tender areas within me, so that I can handle so I can more gracefully go through the changes that are coming, and have more space to hold for those around me who need my support and encouragement. Okay, there we go. That's for this week. Change again, and balance, finding balance. There's a lot going on. Hang in there. We can do this together. And I look forward to seeing you again next week.